it would be black. And you can see stuff made by the community as well in these shots. Those statues were made by Daniel Salazar from Costa Rica. And there's some statues on the way up that were made by guys as well. And I think the ladder was made by the community that you can see there in really dark. That was great because we needed, especially in the city shots, we needed lots of junk, right? Little crates and some cartwheels and all sorts of stuff. And we just downloaded it all from BlendSwap. And you put it in there, copy it a bunch of times, resize it, maybe change the texture a bit, and your scene kind of comes alive at a certain point because you're just adding so much junk. That was really great.
So you can see everything is fake, completely fake. This is how the cigarette looks.
That button is awesome, what you just did.
Control-Shift,
yeah,
left click, and you update your, you only need one viewer, and that way you can Control-click everywhere, and you have
you just switch the input of your viewer to the current node that you click on. And even if you're on a single node, if you do the shift-click, you can go through all the inputs. So you don't have to make multiple viewers, you don't have to select multiple viewers, you just have one, and you go click, 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 and you can see everything.
Click, 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 click. It's awesome. Control, Shift, Control. Yeah, it's Blender.
Control and Shift and
Control, Shift, F, key, F11. 100. Yeah. So yes, you can see everything is really fake. Do you have any questions before? We don't have much time, so I'm going to try to explain one of these little steps. Yeah. Right. So render layers. We had, well, this is actually a real mess. Sorry, but I will try to explain it. It has a meaning. Every single node.
That's obviously a Pablo file.
Yeah. Sorry. So basically, I tried to separate all the let's see at the end. I tried to separate all the objects because also the way Blender calculates vector blur, like the fast way Blender calculates blur is vector blur. And if the objects are going like in different directions, but they are on the same render layer, Blender doesn't feel nice, and it starts doing crazy stuff. So if the object's going this way, like the dragon, and then the background is going that way, it's better to keep them separated. And well, also because if you want to do color grading and you don't have to make masks and stuff, but especially because of the vectors, if going this way and then this way, it's better to keep them in different render layers. So
shows the lens flare. Come on.
Okay. I need to get there first. I got all the cigarette, like the building in one render layer. I got the two characters in another render layer, like there. Then I just do a lot of color correction in them before mixing. Vector blur, then the same for the characters. I try to get them a bit more bright. And then I alpha over them, so they are just mixed. Now I can continue. I can mix it with something I have here, which is the background. Just doing a lot of color correction and trying to get some sort of mist on it. And the city, which is pretty dark here, but once you get like mist with the mist pass, then you can change some of the values. You mix it with the background, and then you mix it with the characters that you had there, and you got a sort of city. So we need a sky now. Back again. I had this is how the sky looks with all the fanciness on top. This is the texture. This is, by the way, there are in the new option on this compositor to scale the background image is with V and Alt V. You can zoom. That's pretty cool. So this is basically one really. Yeah, it's one really crappy. It's just one circle.
Oh,
it's one shadeless circle there, in the parented to the dome that is rotating a little bit, but you don't really notice because the camera is rotating and everything. But
and it wasn't that good. So in a lot of the shots, we basically rotated the dome just to get the right piece of sky, you know, because we wanted different clouds in that little bit. So you just rotate the dome. If you don't see the sun or the opposite side of the sun in that shot, you can really, you know, you move it around to get the right bit.
Yes. So I got this really crappy sun there working, but with some color grading and then like blowing up everything, I could get this. Whoa, fancy! Reminds me of one of the short movies. So I just blur that. I don't really know what I'm thinking here. I'm just listening to music and then Blender Institute and getting some coffee and trying to imagine ways to get it. Like
Coffee?
I wanted yeah, or mate.
Yeah. You actually found a spot in Amsterdam that sells mate, right?
Yeah, I did, but kinda. So I wanted this really glowing sun right on the screen. So I tried to like get the background a bit more bright. Then at this horrible bright floating point is probably 1 million. The value there is really high. So the glare node can do fancy stuff on it. I blur it. I increase the brightness and then put it on top of everything so it's blowing. But for some reason I find myself always like I have the crappy picture, then I brighten up a lot and then I darken up a lot afterwards. So in the process I bet I miss a lot of information, but I just got used to it. I have to change that. So well, that's light wrap stuff. So basically this was my sun. I will just put it on top of everything, right? And then I will start adding layers of stuff. Like for example, this is a layer of halo lights. On the 3D view, I have a one big halo lights here. That has a feature that Brecht did for us. Is awesome. It's you can texture halo lights. So you know, typical halo lights in Blender is just like one. Like a cone of light, and now you can add textures to it. So I added a cloud texture, and that will give me these nice, completely fake volumetric lights, but it works, and it's great. So what I did is this is probably not really visible there, so I tried to pass it through a color. Oh, nice, thank you. So I tried to pass it through a color ramp to get it more intense. Then on top of everything, if we try to make it more obvious. There you can see. So this will give some of the cloud feeling, air passing by, blah, blah. Then I got more blowing sun, which I got from this really small halo light I got there, brighten up. Ooh. This is a halo light that is coming from the sun here. It's parented to the camera, so the camera is moving. It's tracked to the camera. So we had this sort of feeling of like having mist here and not in here. So you can see it goes through the geometry and cuts everything in there. So I took this, I changed the colors, and I put it on top of everything. Well, I first needed to cut the dragon, of course, because otherwise it would be, it wouldn't make sense. So I put it on top of everything. They're more blowing than always vignette. I always use a blend texture as a vignette because you can change the scale really. It's really awesome. So there you can change like a scale. It's much better than an image, and if you put it on the farm, it's going to scale properly, and it's great.
And that's the trouble you have now, right? Because Colin used to use an image as a vignette, right? The vignette is a thing to get nice little dark corners. And you use the texture, but the problem now is you are doing the 4K version of the movie, and he's finding all these images that are the wrong size. So if you render it now, you get a vignette that's only the quarter of the size of the entire image.
Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah. You see one like 4K image and then little.
Yeah, but that's why it's so nice. You can get a texture straight into the compositor now and use it to composite stuff with.
Just add
scales
texture and it's great. It's a blend sphere. It's nothing. Well, if any of the developers, I know this interface sucks at the moment, but it sucks more because you can't access textures you are working here. You can't access. You have to add it to a lamp or to material or something, and then delete it. And if you don't, you forget to delete it. Yeah. We know. So more blowing sun. I got the lens flare. Yay! So I got this. Oh, fuck. I'm a bit afraid of Control Z here. So now it's calculating the whole tree again, because in Blender it goes like from left to right. So if you're changing stuff, like in this node, it's only going to calculate this part. It's really good. But since I cut...
Well, it's actually the position on screen that matters?
Yeah, something like that, if you, where you add it. But no, it's a connection,
right?
not the position, but the connection here. The spaghetti. Yeah. Positioning the spaghetti. So, let's see how I did this. I had this blowing sun coming from, let's see, that's another thing. You have to move the background every time because you don't see the wires. So I got this blowing sun, which was just like one little mesh there. And I need to cut it. Here it doesn't really make sense, but I need to cut it because it goes behind the statue, right? So I need to cut that part, like mask it out. Then streaks, nice. Then more blowing, and ghost. With this ghost, I just made it a bit more intense and put it through here on top of everything. Yes, please.
Oh, here, wait.
The color is off in this one, by the way. It's not the one on the movie. But
how many days on average did it take for you to composite shots as complex as this? I mean, like, how long would it take you to figure out maybe just how to do that one lens flare? Because it seems like you used a whole lot of nodes and it took a lot of tweaking to get what you wanted.
It doesn't really take a lot of time. It takes more time to think about what will look cool in this shot. Like the artistic side takes much more time. The execution is pretty fast. It's like, okay, I need a lens flare, so okay, I can take this circle and then let's add a color ramp, try to get, no, it doesn't work. Okay, remove that. Color ramp and then a glare and then top, doesn't work. Then you have to see it animated. So that process takes a bit more. The execution is not that, it's not slow at all. It's really, really fast. The part that takes a while is the artistic side. It's like, would it look cool or would it suck? What? It's like, would it work? How do we do it? Which mode should I take? Especially without the art director in the institute was a bit slow, that process, because I was a bit like, would David liked it? Yeah, but yeah, he had another work, of course, but it would be nice to have the art director the whole period, so you can make him, like in 5 minutes, he can make an awesome picture of this with all nice contrast and effects and everything, and I just need to copy that for, in this shot. He made that for the cabin. I made a really, really basic layout for just a little blocks and stuff. Yeah, we put it on, it's on the DVD, and it's also on, there's a blog post in the Durian blog, where I just made really basic objects, right? He painted over, and that really saved me a lot of work. It was just like a matter of, okay, he added a nice little effect there. So okay, just add a lamp and then try to figure out how to make it. But it's not really slow. The slowest process is the artistic one if you don't have an art direction, and the execution, like in terms of rendering and feedback from the farm, and you get some flickering, and okay, again, try the other setting. That's the slowest part. But the execution itself, you can do it in 1 day easy. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
What? Oh, hey, go on.
Well, 7 minutes left, so this is officially the question and answers part.
If you make like the flare or some other node group that you want to reuse, how do you do it? You save your scene, then you open a generic node group scene where you append that in and save that, and then in a new comp you load that in.
Yes. Can I be a bit lower so I see people there? Yes, I use that a little bit, but not the linking part, because Sunka used that a lot. If you see Sunka's setup, it's like a lot of render layers, then one group, another group, done. But Blender has this horrible bug. For me, it's a bug. It's not a limitation. I mean, it's a bug. It's if you have linked groups, you can't see what is inside of the group without making it local. You only want to see what is inside. It's like, maybe it's called awesomeness, the group of awesomeness. You want to change one little thing, or you want to see at least what it's about, and you can't make it local without, you can't see what is inside without making it local. So I think it's a limitation. So I tried to avoid that, but Sunka used it a lot, and I used it a little bit in some parts.
I did to steal other people's nodes. You go into their file, make a group, take it into your file, ungroup it, and then you have all the shit that they did.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I think Jean-Sebastian?
Hey.
Well, another question about linking, models to create your final scene. Just for the sun, for example, you had a little circle, and then you added like halo lights and stuff like that. I mean, it's a lot of change that you do locally in the final file.
Yeah, but this is really, really specific for this shot. So that kind of thing. Well, the lights are all local. They're like if you look at that file, it's just like 3 big things. The 2 characters, well, the birds, the flying around, and the background, the actual geometry. That's another group. But the lights are all local, and these little objects like the dome. The dome is usually local. I do it local because I want to see like, okay, I have this little texture of the sky, and I have this big, so I need to try to scale it, move it around, move it up, down, and so it's a lot of playing involved. So I just make it local. And for these little objects like the sun, that is not used in any other shot of the movie, so I made it local. And some people hate me because of that, like local changes, because you're not keeping it order in the library. Yeah, who cares? It's just this shot. I need this little circle there. See,
Pablo. Oh, do you?
Yeah.
How? Hi. Are you using in the end? You use a lot of lightings and a lot of post-compositing effects. So I wonder if actually the GLS mode, where you could kind of preview a little bit of the lighting and the material, actually helped you, or in the end didn't help you at all?
I didn't use it at all in Sintel. I used to use it a lot in 2.4, but in 2.5 for some reason I didn't find myself using it a lot. And it's fun, it's great, but it would be nice if it give you like more options, like it work at least with bump, because we didn't use a lot of normal maps. In 2.4, normal maps were better than normal bump. But in 2.5, actually normal maps are worse. I mean, if you compare like how a normal map looks in 2.5 and a normal bump looks, normal bump works a lot better. So we ended up using that, and you can't see that in the 3D view. And you can see halo lights, you can see shadows, like soft shadows, you can see many, or ray trace shadows, which I don't care if they're ray trace or not, but if you have to switch back and forth. So it would be nice to have a lot more feedback at GLSL. We have these great graphic cards that are not being used, and it would be nice too. 3 minutes left. Other question?
Yeah, last question. Anyone? What?
It's not lighting, but I wonder if you actually used the game engine for any of the simulations in the game, in the project. I heard you used it for one of the scene, because I know a lot of artists, they go for the game engine for to make some physics simulation. I wonder if that was part of her.
Yeah.
In the cave we did a bunch. Björn, he did it. Him there, and yeah, come to his talk and he'll show it. I did it on one shot at.
At 1:30, you go grab a sandwich and then go to his talk. He's going to talk about that.
I think I did, like, after she runs out of the cave, you can see the cave entrance collapsed, and there's one little pebble that goes tuk tuk. I did that. But yeah, we're beautifully on time. So
wow!
Thanks, Pablo. That was awesome.
Huh?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. So a few minutes, like 2 or 3 minutes, a break for the next session.
Yeah, I will be around, so just kick me for anything, poke me.
One question. I'm working on an actual project with ray tracing. Because